Hello everyone, my name is Tabitha McIntyre and I teach 5th grade math and social studies at Spring Place Elementary in Murray County. Today I'm going to be telling you about my culminating project for decimal operations. I kind of call it the decimal shopping project. The Georgia standards are that the students should be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide by decimals to the hundredths place. So this is an activity that's going to come after the students have already studied and explored adding and subtracting decimals, multiplying and dividing. So they already know how to do these operations and the difference between lining the decimals up, the decimal places, when you add and subtract, and the different processes. So this kind of puts it all together and brings you up to that higher DOK level where they're organizing their information and evaluating and synthesizing. They're going to do a lot of research to go with this, in which they're going to have to use those decimal skills. So we are going to use several Web 2.0 tools to do that. We're going to start with Poplet. So this is just an example Poplet. It's a great visual tool. The students, of course, aren't going to be doing facts about Earth, but this is just an example, and since I don't have student work yet. But what they are going to be doing is they are going to be Christmas shopping for their families. So they are going to be given a budget to divide up among their family members as they see fit. It's $1,200. Every student will get a fictional $1,200. And I'm not going to give them specifics on how they split it up. Either they can take it and split it equally. If one student has 5 family members and she wants to divide the $1,200 up evenly among 5 people, she can do that. And this is where they're going to have to use the decimal. Dividing by decimal numbers will probably come into play here unless they happen to have an even number, but it'll be different for every student, which is what's great about it. So they're going to start out with Poplet and they're going to add it all the way through. They're going to add to their Poplet. So at the beginning they're just going to create a visual with their family members. They're going to get comfortable using Poplet. They're going to put each family member, label them adult or child, because that could make a difference on how much money they want to spend on each person, because you might spend more on an adult than a child. If we can, we're going to get access to a scanner and they can actually scan pictures of their family members to put on their Poplet if they choose to. It's not going to be a requirement. Then we're going to kind of leave Poplet alone and we're going to go into the research part. So for this we are going to use Evernote. So you can see here, Evernote is absolutely great for researching, and it's a great tool for younger and older students. So I really want to introduce my 5th graders to this to get them used to researching. Evernote puts it in one place for them. So I've already made my Christmas shopping project notebook. So when I go on the internet and I searched for iPhone, I thought, kids, they want to buy phones for their parents. Can they really? No, but they have $1,200. So they are going to use Kid Search, which is a safe Google search for kids. And they say they found an iPhone. So we went to the shopping comparisons because part of their assignment is going to be finding the best deals. So they are going to have to determine the better deals first. So I screenshotted. I was able to put an arrow down to the one that was the best price. I put check on this because it seemed like really sketchy price for an iPhone, but the kids can do that. They can go to any page they want to search for the gift they're looking for, type on it, type notes to themselves, and then they just drag it to Evernote. So at the end, the goal is for them to have this list of research for each person, for mom, for dad, for brother, for sister, so they have it all in one place, and in the end they can determine which gifts they really want to buy. But this is just information gathering and synthesizing, putting it in one place, so at the end they can go back and compare prices and compare gifts so they can make the best decisions. Okay, now after they get this together is kind of when the differentiation comes into play. I have 2 very diverse groups of students coming up next year. We're team teaching, so I'll have 2 different math groups. One math group actually has 12 special education students in it out of 21, and then the other class has about that many gifted students. So for the gifted students, they're going to create an Excel spreadsheet, explore how to use those different codes to add up their totals to make sure that they're within budget and to manipulate those a little bit. For my special education students, some of them might not be as comfortable with using Excel spreadsheets, so we were going to print a budget sheet for them to do with my special education teacher who is inclusion. So they have that extra support, in case that the internet doesn't work during this part of the project. That would be really detrimental since that's where they're getting all their research. So as a backup plan, in case any technical issues occur, I'll have a lot of different magazines, ads for them to pick through to find gifts. They still get the decimals out of there. They'll still play with the numbers so that it won't completely ruin the project if the internet decides to stop working that day. Once they get all of their information in Evernote, they're going to go back and decide which final gifts do I want for each of my family members, and that's when they're going to see if they're within their budget. And one of my favorite parts is the last part, which is Kid Blog, which is an extremely awesome kid-friendly blogging website that's very easy to use. I've created a blog for them, the prompt anyway, my blog prompt for them to look at to use the Christmas shopping challenge. I told them some questions I want them to address within their blog. I've provided them with their blog and peer response rubric, and stress the importance of reading that prior to beginning their blog. I really want them to be able to collaborate together. So they also have to respond to a peer using the criteria, the ABC method. Assistive technology will be used. I have a large percentage of EL students, but I'm so blessed to be able to have an ELL inclusion teacher and a special ed inclusion teacher with that classroom. So I'm really going to have really good backup with that class as far as getting them the help that they need. We've already discussed a translated search engine so that my students I do have some students that have just moved to the United States that speak very little English, so that they'll have access to the things that they need. There's picture representatives, the visual, the Poplet. All of this makes it much more accessible. Some of the special ed children get to use calculators, so they could use those tools. So I tried to make the project as accessible to everyone as possible. I hope that you enjoyed it and that my students enjoyed the lesson plan as much as I enjoyed writing it.